In a country of over 130 million people, there's a community so small it's less than 1% of the population. We're talking about a community of roughly 40,000 to 50,000 souls. And yet, from this tiny minority, a group of women has risen to command a staggering amount of economic, cultural, and political power. What if I told you that some of the most influential figures in Mexico, from titans of industry to the nation's first female president, all share a common Jewish heritage? Today, we're counting down the 10 most powerful and wealthy Jewish women in Mexico. But this isn't just a list of names and numbers. Trying to track personal wealth in Mexico is famously difficult. The country's elite are incredibly private, and fortunes are often hidden in complex family trusts and holding companies. So, while we'll touch on the immense financial resources they command, our focus is really on a more potent currency: influence. This is a story of power in all its forms. The power of inherited billions, yes, but also the power to shape a nation's culture, guard its memory, run its largest companies, and ultimately to hold its highest office. The stories of these women aren't just about wealth, they're about legacy, ambition, and the quiet, persistent influence that has helped shape modern Mexico. You'll be surprised by who's on this list, and maybe even more surprised by who isn't. To understand their journey, we have to look back. The story of Jewish Mexico is one of waves and whispers. It starts with the conversos, or crypto-Jews, who fled the Spanish Inquisition 5 centuries ago, practicing their faith in secret. But the modern community was really forged in the early 20th century. Ashkenazi Jews fled pogroms in Eastern Europe, and Sephardic Jews left the collapsing Ottoman Empire. They landed in a post-revolutionary Mexico, a nation rebuilding itself. They were outsiders who, through sheer grit, built empires in textiles, real estate, finance, and retail. And women were central to this from the very beginning. In 1922, the Comité de Dames, or Women's Committee, was formed to help new immigrants with everything from jobs and housing to medical care. These women built the foundational pillars of the community. Intellectuals and artists like Anita Brenner, a Mexican-born Jewish journalist and art historian, became crucial cultural interpreters. She even helped coin the term Mexican Renaissance to describe the art boom of the era. She moved between worlds, connecting the vibrant art scene of Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo with Jewish intellectual circles, proving that influence was as much about ideas as it was about money. The women on our list today stand on the shoulders of these pioneers, from the entrepreneurs creating new markets to the philanthropists steering billions, and finally to the woman who now leads the entire nation. So, let's begin our countdown. Number 10. Raquel Shabbat, the modern entrepreneur. Kicking off our list is a woman who represents a new generation of Jewish Mexican entrepreneurs, Raquel Shabbat. She's not a billionaire heiress, but her story is a masterclass in spotting a niche and building a successful business from the ground up, embodying the entrepreneurial spirit that has long defined her community. Shabbat's story is what happens when modern motherhood meets sharp business sense. A psychologist by training, she found herself navigating the same challenges as any new mother. The idea for her company, Tubby's, wasn't born in a boardroom, but from personal experience. She and her business partner, Carolina Garnica, met in a class for early childhood stimulation with their babies. They realized there was a huge gap in the market for a baby bathtub that was practical, safe, and didn't require a permanent installation in modern, often smaller homes. What makes her story so compelling is how she blended creativity with strategy. Described as the perfectionist and organized half of the duo, she used her psychology background to understand what modern parents really needed. They didn't just have an idea, they designed, developed, and, most importantly, patented their product, a unique bathtub designed to sit securely over a shower stall. They weren't just selling a product, they were creating a solution for thousands of families. In 2021, the influential magazine Queen featured Raquel Shabbat in its 31 Women We Love special, celebrating women who are carving their own paths. The magazine praised her impressive trajectory and her ability to know what she wants and get it done. Her inclusion signals a shift in how we think about influence. It's not just about inherited wealth anymore. It's also about the power of entrepreneurship to create value and build a brand from scratch. Raquel Shabbat's success with Tubby's shows that the next generation of powerful Jewish women in Mexico is already making its mark, one innovative idea at a time. Number 9. Sharon Ziman, the corporate power player. Coming in at number 9 is Sharon Ziman, a woman who wields a different kind of power, not from family billions, but from the top of the corporate ladder. Her influence comes from one of the most powerful industries in the world, media. As the former director of Warner Media for Mexico and Colombia and head of content for Latin America, she was a key decision-maker shaping what millions of people watch and consume. In July 2021, Forbes Mexico named Sharon Ziman to its prestigious list of the 100 most powerful women in Mexico. The magazine highlighted women who were instrumental in the nation's progress, and Ziman's inclusion was a clear nod to her major role within the Warner Media conglomerate. Her job put her at the center of content creation, business strategy, and tech innovation for a huge part of the Western Hemisphere. That means she was on the front lines of the streaming wars, steering the shift from traditional TV to digital platforms, and deciding which stories would be amplified by one of the world's biggest media companies. Her career is a perfect example of modern influence. In an era where content is king, the people who control it hold immense sway over culture and public opinion. Her job wasn't just about managing budgets, it was about curating culture on a massive scale. The decisions made in her Mexico City office rippled across Latin America, influencing entertainment, news, and the very fabric of pop culture. While her personal net worth is private, as is typical for corporate executives, her power is undeniable. Being named one of Mexico's most powerful women by Forbes places her in an elite group of leaders. Sharon Ziman represents the Jewish woman as a formidable force in the modern multinational corporation, a leader whose influence is measured in market share and the power to shape the narrative for millions.
Number 8. Carla Berdichevsky-Feldman, the architect of public health. At number 8, we find a woman whose power isn't measured in dollars, but in human lives. Dr. Carla Berdichevsky-Feldman is a major force in public health and policy, where influence directly impacts a nation's well-being. As the Director General of Mexico's National Center for Gender Equity and Reproductive Health, she operates at the crossroads of healthcare, human rights, and government. Dr. Berdichevsky's role is one of immense responsibility. Her center is a key government body tasked with managing maternal health programs, overseeing reproductive rights, and promoting gender equity in the national healthcare system. Her work became especially visible during the COVID-19 pandemic. Forbes Mexico, which named her one of the 100 most powerful women in Mexico in both 2020 and 2021, specifically highlighted her critical role during the crisis. At the peak of the first wave, an estimated 235,000 women gave birth in Mexico between April and June of 2020 alone, and her department was responsible for ensuring their safety in a strained system. Her influence goes far beyond Mexico's borders. Before her current government role, she was a consultant on gender and human rights for major international organizations, including the World Health Organization, the WHO. This global perspective makes her a leading expert not just in Mexico, but across the wider region. Dr. Berdichevsky represents a vital, often overlooked form of power: institutional power. She comes from a tradition of community members who rise to the top through expertise and public service. Think of it this way: while a billionaire might fund a hospital wing, Dr. Berdichevsky's work shapes the policies that govern the entire national healthcare system for women. Her wealth isn't personal financial assets, but the vast institutional resources she commands to enact change on a national scale. In a country grappling with complex issues of gender equality and healthcare, Carla Berdichevsky-Feldman is on the front lines, making her one of Mexico's most impactful women. Number 7. Nadine Gassman, the government insider. Continuing with the theme of institutional power, our number 7 is Nadine Gassman, a woman who operates at the highest levels of the Mexican federal government. As the president of the National Women's Institute, or Mujeres, she is the country's top official dedicated to advancing women's rights and gender equality. It's a cabinet-level position, making her one of the most influential figures in shaping the nation's social policy. Guzman, a medical doctor, has dedicated her career to public service and activism. Like Dr. Berdichevsky, her influence was recognized by Forbes, which included her on its 2021 list of Mexico's 100 most powerful women. Her journey to this role is a story of global experience. Before leading Mujeres, she had a distinguished career at the United Nations, serving as the UN representative in several countries. Her appointment puts her at the helm of the government's entire machine for promoting women's rights. Her institute is responsible for coordinating public policies to achieve gender equality in all spheres of society, political, economic, and social. This means she collaborates with every ministry to ensure a gender perspective is integrated into all their programs. She's been a particularly strong advocate for the rights of Indigenous and Afro-descendant women, fighting for their inclusion and protection. Nadine Guzman's position gives her a powerful platform to influence legislation, allocate federal resources, and set the national agenda on gender issues. Her power isn't from personal wealth, but from the authority of her office. She personifies the Jewish tradition of tikkun olam, or repairing the world, through dedicated public service. While others on this list build business empires, Nadine Guzman is working to rebuild the social fabric of her country to be more just and equitable. Number 6. Margot Glantz, the cultural titan. At number 6, we pivot from political power to the realm of arts and letters to honor a woman whose wealth is measured in intellectual capital and cultural prestige. Margot Glantz. A true icon of Mexican literature, Glantz is a celebrated writer, essayist, and academic whose influence has shaped the country's cultural landscape for over half a century. Born in Mexico City, Margot Glantz is the daughter of Yiddish poet Jakob Glantz, and her life has been a bridge between her Jewish heritage and the broader Mexican intellectual tradition. She has actively explored her Jewish ancestry in her most important texts, making her a pivotal figure in the story of Jewish identity in Mexico. With over 20 books to her name, she has received numerous international literature awards. In 2020, her life and work were celebrated with a national homage, and Mexico's National Sound Archive launched a special series dedicated to her. Her influence was formally recognized by Forbes, which named her one of the 100 most powerful women in Mexico in 2020. But her influence goes far beyond magazine lists. She is a member of the Mexican Academy of Language, the country's most prestigious literary body. Of the 9 women on the Academy's board, 4 have Jewish ancestry, a testament to the community's immense intellectual contribution. But Glantz's work stands out. Her essays and novels are required reading in universities, and her opinions on culture carry immense weight. Margot Glantz represents a form of power that is perhaps the most enduring, the power of the word. Businesses can fail and political fortunes can change, but a literary legacy can influence generations. She has spent her life analyzing and contributing to the cultural DNA of Mexico, ensuring the Jewish experience is woven into its rich tapestry. She is not a billionaire, but her name carries a different kind of currency. Her influence is that of a maestra, a teacher and a master whose authority has been built over a lifetime of brilliant work.
Number 5. Sharon Saga, the keeper of memory. At the midpoint of our list is a woman whose life's work is dedicated to ensuring history's darkest moments are never forgotten. In doing so, she created one of Mexico's most important cultural institutions. Sharon Saga is the visionary co-founder and director of the Museo Memoria y Tolerancia, the Museum of Memory and Tolerance, in the heart of Mexico City. Her influence is not just cultural, but deeply moral. Zaga's story is a powerful example of how a single experience can change your life. As a young Jewish woman, she participated in the March of the Living, an educational program that takes students to former Nazi concentration camps in Poland. The experience was transformative. When she returned to Mexico, she was consumed with the idea of creating a museum about the Holocaust in her own country. At just 21 years old, she started this monumental project in the humblest way imaginable, by opening a small exhibit in 2 rooms of her own house. From that tiny beginning grew a world-class institution. The Museo Memoria y Tolerancia is now a major landmark in Mexico City, a stunning space that not only documents the Holocaust, but also explores other genocides, promoting a message of tolerance and respect for diversity. Zaga's vision was to create more than just an archive. She wanted to build an educational tool that would inspire visitors to become advocates for human rights. Her work has been widely recognized, including by Diario Judío, a key publication for the Jewish community in Mexico. She is celebrated as a human rights defender whose work has had a profound impact. The museum she built isn't a for-profit enterprise. Its value can't be measured on a balance sheet. Its wealth is its social and educational capital. It hosts hundreds of thousands of visitors every year, shaping their understanding of history, prejudice, and their own responsibilities as citizens. Sharon Saga has turned memory into a powerful force for change. Number 4. Annie Pardo Semo, the scientific matriarch. At number 4 is a woman who embodies intellectual brilliance and a legacy that has now reached the very peak of national power. Dr. Annie Pardo Semo, a distinguished cell biologist and emeritus professor at the prestigious National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM, and the mother of Mexico's current president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Dr. Pardo Semo's story is a quintessential 20th century Jewish migration narrative. Her Sephardic Jewish parents fled Bulgaria in the 1940s to escape persecution. While some records state she was born in Mexico City, her family's arrival in Mexico after fleeing Europe has made her early years a subject of some debate. What is undisputed is her towering academic career. She earned her master's and doctorate in biochemistry from UNAM and became one of Mexico's leading scientists, specializing in lung diseases. Her work earned her numerous accolades, culminating in the 2023 National Prize for Arts and Sciences, Mexico's highest honor for a scientist. Her influence, however, extends beyond the lab. For decades, she has been a prominent figure in Mexico's academic and intellectual circles, a world where her Jewish heritage and secular left-leaning politics were defining features. She and her husband, Carlos Sheinbaum Yoselovitz, raised their children in a home steeped in science and political activism. This environment profoundly shaped her daughter, Claudia, who would follow in her mother's footsteps as a scientist before entering politics. While Dr. Pardo's intellectual capital is immense, her financial profile is more complex. Initial speculative research suggested a high net worth, but there is no public evidence to support this. However, her name did appear in the 2016 Panama Papers leak, which listed her in connection with an offshore company. The implications of this are not publicly known, but it adds a layer of complexity beyond a typical academic salary. Ultimately, Annie Pardo Semo's position on this list is secured by the powerful combination of her own formidable scientific legacy and her role as the matriarch of Mexico's new first family. She is a symbol of academic excellence and a living link to the history of Jewish migration that brought her family to Mexico. Number 3. Adela Tuachi Saba and the women of the Saba family, the philanthropic dynasty. At number 3, we enter the realm of true, dynastic, billionaire-level fortunes. This power belongs to one of the most significant families in Mexico, the Sabas. It's represented not by a living CEO, but by the enduring legacy of Adela Tuachi Saba, wife of the late business magnate Moises Saba Masri, and the philanthropic tradition carried on by the women of this powerful clan. The Saba family story is one of meteoric rise. They are part of the tight-knit Syrian Jewish community that has seen incredible success in Mexican business. Moises Saba Masri built a colossal empire spanning real estate, textiles, telecommunications, and media. He was a co-owner of TV Azteca
and at one point held a portfolio of over 5,000 real estate properties. His business acumen was legendary, as was his deep connection to his Jewish faith. Adela Tuachi Saba stood alongside him, a formidable force in her own right, especially in philanthropy. Those who knew her described her as deeply devoted to her family and faith, and intensely focused on community development. She was a key figure in organizations like the Young Jewish Women's Organization. Together, Moises and Adela were a powerhouse of giving, supporting synagogues, schools, and social welfare programs in Mexico and abroad. The family's story took a devastatingly tragic turn in January 2010. A helicopter carrying Moises, Adela, their son Alberto, and their daughter-in-law Judith crashed in foggy weather outside Mexico City. There were no survivors. The loss was a seismic event for Mexico's business and Jewish communities. In the years since, the family's immense wealth, estimated in the many billions, has been managed by the surviving family members, and the women of the Saba family have continued the philanthropic legacy. Women like Adela Raful Saba have become prominent figures, channeling the family's resources into a vast array of causes. Their giving is often done quietly, but its impact is enormous. They are pillar supporters of the community, providing the financial backbone for countless institutions. Adela Tuachi Saba and the women of her family represent the immense, often unseen power of inherited wealth directed toward community preservation and growth.
Number 2. The unseen heiresses, the power of privacy. Our number 2 spot is unique. It isn't a single person. Instead, it's a tribute to a group of women who may be the most powerful on this list, but whose names you will likely never see on a Forbes ranking. The unseen heiresses and matriarchs of Mexico's wealthiest Jewish families. They are the daughters, wives, and widows of the patriarchs who built some of the country's largest private fortunes, from families like the Daniels, the Chicos, and others in that elite circle. This entry gets at a fundamental truth about wealth in Mexico. The biggest fortunes are the most private. Unlike the public assets of a politician, dynastic wealth is a fortress. It's held in private trusts, managed by discreet family offices, and spread across global markets. The women of these families wield enormous influence from behind this veil of privacy. While they may not have public-facing roles, their power is structural and profound. They often sit on the boards of family foundations, directing tens of millions in philanthropy that shapes community life. They are the guardians of the family's social and cultural capital, hosting leaders, building alliances, and maintaining the family's status within the country's elite. Their influence is exercised in the boardroom of a holding company, in the selection of a museum director, or in a quiet conversation with a government minister at a charity gala. This isn't unique to Mexico, but it's especially pronounced within its close-knit and historically private Jewish community. For generations, keeping a low profile was a survival mechanism to avoid undue attention and risk. That tradition of discretion continues today, not just for security, but as a deeply ingrained cultural value. So, while we can't list their names without betraying the very privacy that defines their power, to ignore them would be to miss a huge part of the story. They are the silent partners in billion-dollar enterprises and the keepers of dynastic legacies. The number 2 spot belongs to these powerful, private, and influential women, the true unseen matriarchs of Jewish wealth in Mexico. We're about to reveal our number 1, and her story is a groundbreaking chapter in the history of Mexico. Before we do, if you're finding this look into wealth and influence as fascinating as we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And let us know in the comments, which form of power do you think is most impactful? Economic, cultural, or political? Number 1. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, the pinnacle of power. And now, for our number 1, the woman who has reached the absolute zenith of power in Mexico, not through inheritance or enterprise, but through a lifetime of academic achievement and political grit. At the top of our list is Dr. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, the first woman and the first person of Jewish heritage to be elected president of Mexico. Her victory in 2024 was a watershed moment, the culmination of a journey that began in a secular Jewish household, buzzing with scientific inquiry and left-wing politics. The daughter of two scientists, Ashkenazi father Carlos Sheinbaum Yoselovitz and Sephardic mother Annie Pardo Senmo, Claudia Sheinbaum's identity was forged at the intersection of these two powerful legacies. She has spoken of her upbringing as culturally Jewish but not religious, celebrating holidays with her grandparents but growing up outside the formal structures of the community. Before entering politics, Sheinbaum was a distinguished climate scientist, earning a PhD in energy engineering and contributing to the work of the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which won a Nobel Peace Prize. Her political career began as Secretary of the Environment for Mexico City before she was elected mayor of the sprawling metropolis herself in 2018. Now let's talk about her wealth. Some speculative reports have placed her net worth between $5 and $10 million. However, her own public declarations paint a far more modest picture. As a public servant, her wealth is a matter of official record. Her declarations have shown a sober profile. One recent declaration as president reported a monthly salary of around 134,000 pesos, about $7,500, ownership of a department, a 2013 car, and small shareholder positions in two family companies from which she claims to receive no income. This is what makes her #1 spot so significant. Claudia Sheinbaum's currency is not money, it is power. She commands the armed forces, directs the national budget, and sets the course for a nation of 130 million people. Her net worth is the political capital she built over decades, culminating in a landslide presidential victory. She has achieved a level of influence that no amount of money can buy. While some women on this list can influence an industry, Sheinbaum can change the laws that govern all industries. While others can fund a school, Sheinbaum oversees the entire national education system. Her election represents the ultimate arrival of Jewish women in the story of Mexico. A descendant of Jews who fled persecution in Lithuania and Bulgaria is now the leader of the world's second-largest Catholic country. It is a testament to her personal journey and the evolution of Mexican society. For embodying the highest possible form of influence and for breaking the ultimate glass ceiling, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo is, without question, the most powerful Jewish woman in Mexico. From the entrepreneur patenting a new product to the philanthropist directing a family dynasty, from the cultural icon shaping a nation's literature to the scientist turned president now leading the country, the story of Jewish women in Mexico is a story of power in all its forms. These 10 women, and the many more they represent, demonstrate the profound and multifaceted impact of a community that has always punched far above its weight. They are matriarchs, innovators, and leaders who have navigated a complex society to reach the highest echelons of influence. They aren't just successful Jewish women, they are some of the most powerful women in Mexico, period. Their stories are a vital, though often overlooked, chapter in the ongoing history of the nation. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the people and power shaping our world. We'll see you in the next one.